Cream City crossover. We are live. It's the Milwaukee Bucks post game show, the Cream City crossover. Come on in the room. The Bucks are winners 110-105 over the New York Knickerbockers. What a game. What a game, JT. Listen, you can't make me feel any. Well, okay, let me stop. I guess you can make me feel better about that game, but for what it's worth, the Bucks come through. They finish this thing off. It's a 110-105 victory. Right alive on the Cream City crossover. The guru, Trey Crosby III.
John Tyus.
JT is in the building. It was fun. I don't know if you care or not, but this was absolutely the first game of pool play. So the Bucks are now 1-0 in pool play, if that means anything to you. If it means anything to you, if it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, it does. They get the dub. Listen, not only do you get a dub, you get a dub off of the Dame time shot at the end of the game there. This is now the second. The Bucks, of course, they're now 3-2 on the season. But this is another game where late game heroics from Damian Lillard basically closed this thing out for the Milwaukee Bucks. It was fun. The Bucks led throughout the game. We're going to talk about all the issues that took place. Obviously, the Bucks had some issues rebounding the ball early. Brook Lopez had some issues early. Pat Connaughton was missing shots early. Dame and Giannis didn't seem to be on the right page. Jalen Brunson was cooking for New York. But this is a game where the Bucks, they figure out a way to get a win. So 110-105. John, give me your initial reactions, what you saw from the Bucks tonight.
So look, man, I was like you, like a lot of people in that first half. I got to tell you, I saw this team getting out rebounded. I saw we shot really, really well from three. I think we finished tonight at 51%. And I think the first half that was actually
shot very well from three. Very well from three.
So we were losing that rebound battle in the first half, and I know we focused a little bit on Brook because he just looked a step. It did not look good, right? Having said that, he was 3 for 5 from three in the first half, right? So I was thinking, okay, Brook's going to do the Karl-Anthony Towns thing tonight, right? He's going to be good at everything but big man things, which is the issue with Cat. But no, Brook turned that thing around in the second half, and I love 7 blocks, 5 of which in the second half, killing it, right? First half. Middleton, I thought he looked strong. I thought Middleton looked good, right? He had 9 points in 8 minutes, 4 for 5 shooting in that first half.
Chris looked good throughout the game. Chris looked very good tonight.
Oh yeah. And man, I gotta tell you too, MarJon. Mm-hmm. Listen, that boy, Bucks fans, we cannot give up on MarJon. He is too talented to do so. 13 points in 13 minutes tonight. I thought MarJon made the most of his opportunities. Jay Crowder, he's another one. MarJon and Jay Crowder, when they're on, they really kind of show you how deep this Bucks team is. I mean, it was absolutely great, very solid performances from them. Obviously, we talked about Damian Lillard, and I feel like on this show, because we really kind of dig into this thing, want to be a little more intellectually honest and discuss the contributions of some of the other players on this team. Because a lot of your national guys, they only know the names of 2 guys on the squad. Like seriously, right? If you tune into a national show, they don't even dig into the bench. They're just going to talk about Giannis and Dame. Man, what?
I'm laughing because okay, yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. So again, if you join the Cream City crossover, we still having issues with the chat. I promise you. Once Chris takes over as producer, it's gonna be great. We got Chris King coming in as producer at some point, probably the next week or so of this show. So if you're not able to get the chat function, I'm sorry. YouTube chat's working. You can also tweet me at TCIIIESQ. We'll read your tweets on the show. I'm laughing because our guy Mad Skills 789 said, "Anyone told you look like LL Cool J?" Come on now, come on! I don't like no LL Cool J, man. Y'all tripping
talking
out
about
here.
You?
They out here laughing, man.
He told you look like LL?
Yeah, man. I don't think I look like LL.
Oh,
you look like Buddy from what's Buddy off that hospital show?
No. We're not gonna do this. No, we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this.
I'm just saying.
You know why we're not gonna do this?
Why not?
Because here's the thing. When people say you look like something, right? Most likely that's either going to go one or two ways. You're either going to be flattered, which is a very small percentage of that, And then the other side of that is it's going to be someone, and you're going to think about it, and then you have to reconcile with your mind whether or not you're comfortable with it or like
Hey,
upset.
I didn't say
That's
it bad.
exactly how that's going to go.
I didn't say anything about it. Nothing bad about that. At Saint of Freaks joins in and says Giannis still doesn't have a feel for this offense, and someone really needs to hold him accountable. Also, what is this everyone passed to Lopez BS? Brook Lopez did take a lot of shots. He took a ton of shots. I thought throughout the ball game, some of them
10 threes tonight. I believe
Brook Lopez
right.
took 10 threes. Is that correct? Wow, he's 4 for 15 from the field, 10 from 3 4 for 10 from 3. That is insane. He did, and so that's good doing this rapid reaction. He did take a lot of threes. He took a ton of threes during this game. Like he got the ball like he wanted to shoot every time. Now you look at it, you say 40% from 3. Not bad. That's not bad at all. But it's an issue when you're 4 for 15 from the field and you're not able to score down low. He blew a couple layups that I thought were interesting. He did have a lot of blocks, but the rebounding was a problem. We'll talk about that in a second as well. But I do want to get to again just Damian Lillard. And throughout the first half of the game, I thought he looked a little passive. I think, to go over what some of these people are talking about, what people are talking about over, throughout the game on Twitter and social media as we're watching this thing take place, right? What I typically and generally see from Dame is this passiveness. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, seem to blame it. And again, I'm going to get to the good parts of Damian Lillard in a second because he had an excellent game. But a lot of people seem to blame Giannis for some of Dame's passiveness. And, whether it's the fact that he doesn't roll to the basket well enough, or whether it's the fact that Giannis is taking threes, which, by the way, was Giannis like 3 for 3 from 3 tonight? He had a heck of a night shooting the ball from 3 as well, for whatever reason. But I think he was 7 for 13 from the free throw line. But the issues with Giannis is taking these isolations, and they're not doing enough pick and rolls between Dame and Giannis. But what I kind of blame it on Damian Lillard, and for the reasons I'm going to say. Because against Philly, for two reasons. Against Philly, and at the end of the game tonight, nobody's stopping Damian Lillard. Nobody's stopping, and when I mean nobody's stopping you from getting your shot. You get whatever shot you want to take. Tonight, at the end of the game, Damian Lillard had to take over. He hit threes. He drove to the basket. Then he got a couple layups late in the game. He got fouled. He got to the free throw line. Nobody's telling you can't play with the ball. And the other reason I know that's a fact is because I'm looking at Brook Lopez take 15 shots. I'm looking at Brook Lopez take 10 threes. I'm looking at guys shoot all day long and get whatever shots they want to get and take. And everybody has the green light. So you can't convince me at all that for whatever reason Damian Lillard just doesn't have this green light and he's got to wait. No. What I believe to be happening is some of this thing that they've talked about a little bit in post games where they just aren't comfortable and nobody wants to step on toes and nobody wants to be the man. But I'm telling you, I'm looking at Damian Lillard, dude, maybe you're not the man, but you are the man on offense 100%. You are the guy. Giannis can get in where he gets in with rebounding and block. Giannis had a couple of great blocks down the stretch. He locked up Julius Randle for virtually the entire game. Giannis is going to get his doing what he does. Dame, you are the offensive guy. Everybody else has the green light. You do too. Don't be passive. Shoot the basketball. He does that tonight. I absolutely loved it. And again, well, late in the game, he does that. He turns into Dame time, and you know what that was? That was a big one. Damian Lillard, 100% our player of the game for that shot. It was after Jalen Brunson hit a big time three. And Jalen Brunson had 45 points. Big time three from Jalen Brunson. I think he put the Knicks up 1 or 2. It was the first time they'd had a lead in a while. And then the Bucks call timeout. Giannis gets back. Giannis gets down the court, gives up the ball to Damian Lillard in a handoff, and Dame just fires, pulls and fires, puts it in. That's what you want to see. Knocked it down. And oh, by the way, JT, they all were trying to tell us, Terry Stotts is a big. Wasn't a big, and so many people, got to talk about Adrian Griffin the first 4 games. Yeah, they didn't need Terry Stotts to draw that one up. Terry Stotts, Adrian Griffin, or whoever's on the bench, maybe it's Joe Prunty, I don't know. Whoever that was up drew up that play for Giannis to the curl and give the ball up to Damian Lillard to shoot that 3. You don't need Terry Stotts for that. I thought Adrian Griffin was excellent. We're gonna talk about him as well and the things he said during the game, during his in-game interview with Richard Jefferson and JJ Redick and those guys. I thought he has some introspective comments, but an excellent job from Damian Lillard. You're at the Cream City crossovers, a 110-105 victory for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree with everything you just said. One thing I will say though is I agree. Dame has been uh, appears like he hasn't been aggressive as he typically has been, and I agree that they seem like they're kind of tiptoeing a little bit at times, right? He doesn't know or he's not comfortable being the man. The thing is, you don't have to be the guy at all times, right? But when it's your time, you got to go and you got to roll with it. And I'll give Dame credit, right? This is the second time we've seen him do that. The first time was at the end of the first game against the Sixers, and then we've seen Dame time happen at the end of this game too. Another thing that I will say about this though is that it's not just perception. This is statistically correct, right? Dame has shot somewhere between 19 and 20 field goals just about every season since 2015. Today he only shot 15 shots, and last game I think he had like 9 or 10 shots too. So it's not just exact. So you can't necessarily say that this is a perception thing. Like it's reality from a statistical standpoint. Having said that, though, man, I just need these guys to get comfortable, right? Get Chris back in the lineup when they take the restrictions off Chris. Dame to get comfortable. These guys to start gelling together. And I agree with you. Look, Giannis can get the garbage buckets too. That's the other thing about GA. He 100% can get garbage buckets. So you're right. You don't necessarily have to run the offense through him. But again, we're 5 games in at this point, and I'm happy that tonight looked a heck of a lot better than Wednesday night.
Absolutely. Titonia World is chiming in, says like minutes, Chris is the answer. I don't know why you hate on Chris Middleton. Don't be hating on Chris. He also said he's on the YouTube. Says licking them lips. Come on, y'all got to stop with the LL. Come on now.
Who you be licking
Yeah,
your lips
I'm
now?
not licking my. I don't know
Hey,
what's going on.
some,
This is the first time
Burt's
people are
Bees,
doing
bro.
this stuff, man. I don't know what's going on
Hey,
with this LL Cool
hey,
J. So y'all got to stop with that.
hey. They said they calling Trey Crosby LL Cool
No,
J, and you know what?
no.
You got men calling you that. Okay.
I am feeling like a dime plus 99, and they are calling me
They
Bucko
calling you
9.
Bucko.
That's
They
what they call me,
calling you
Bucko
Bucko
9.
9. All right, man. You're gonna be down at Silk in a little bit.
Oh, dog,
You're gonna be
please.
down. They're gonna catch you down at
Please.
Silk.
Nah, you ain't
Silk.
absolutely not.
And Silk on the waters and limit. Eating wings.
Dog, please cut it out. Poe Jones on YouTube says, good to see Brook back in the drop coverage. We just have to figure out how to defend quick guards a bit better. That's something we got to talk about just a little bit. The defense on Jalen Brunson. Damian Lillard couldn't hold him. Late in the game, they had MarJon doing a little bit of damage on him, couldn't really hold him. You had Jay Crowder, who had him at the end of the game. Jalen Brunson is a top-tier point guard, and I still think he had a better game overall than Damian Lillard tonight. Now I will say Damian Lillard was just as clutch down the stretch as Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson just played better throughout the game, but again, Dame is just as good as him, and I thought he did a great job and was excellent. But yeah, I think you're right. They tried to get switches onto Damian Lillard. They were successful in doing that, and he made a lot. He made a lot of plays. He's just an excellent guard. He made a lot of plays. At Brattat on Twitter says, second game that Dame basically won for the Bucks. I really believe this team will be at its best when he's the one with the ball in his hands, not with Giannis driving the lane out of control or Giannis taking terrible jump shots. And threes. I don't care that he made 3 of them. And again, I don't disagree with that. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of Giannis. I don't want to call it hate, but I feel like a lot of people just, they saw this addition of Damian Lillard and they want to see Dame time again. And maybe I'm seeing this differently. You guys tell me if I'm seeing it wrong. John, you tell me if I'm seeing it wrong. Again, my thing is, I just see a lot of guys able to get shots up, and I can't get to it's Giannis's fault that other guys aren't. It's Giannis's fault that Damian Lillard isn't able to get his shots up. I think they are blitzing Damian a lot. They're blitzing him on these pick and rolls, and a lot of times you see 2 guys and 3 guys on him. But he's got to create for himself. He's got to create his own shot. And again, late in the game, he did that.
And having said that, though, one point that I will make is that, look, we've seen him 2 out of these 5. Some of these games he wasn't in a position to do so, but we've seen Dame take matters into his own hands the last few minutes of 2 games now. So that I think is a little bit encouraging too, because late in the game, I 100% want the ball in Dame's hands for a couple reasons. 1, he can score from anywhere on the court, but 2, he's going to hit his free throws. He's going to knock that. That's almost automatic. I mean, again, going 12 for 12 tonight. Like, listen, I love Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday wasn't going to do that. And so that's another thing, right? Is as long as when it's time for Dame time, that happens, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, and when it was time, he absolutely 100% delivered. I thought that was excellent. Let's get to some guys that were on the bench. I do want to take a second and talk about Jay Crowder and MarJon Beauchamp. And let's play introspective for a second here. Marjon Beauchamp ends the game 13 minutes, 13 points. Okay. Malik Beasley, 22 minutes, 0 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Marjon clearly outplayed Malik Beasley. It wasn't like Malik Beasley defended Jalen Brunson, because Malik Beasley got a lot of those buckets too from Jalen Brunson. Because if I remember correctly, the game for the most part started off with Damian Lillard taking the assignment of Josh Hart, which again, not as good of an offensive player, and so you kind of hide Dame in that factor in that way. But Malik Beasley was out there getting his butt cooked. Now Marjon came in, and I don't think he was just great defensively against Brunson in the times that he was there. But I will say this before I get on, Marjon and Malik, and when you're looking at that fifth starter, what do you do? I'll start by saying at the beginning of the game, I thought the Bucks were very, very good, and they were very attentive and deliberate, 100% deliberate in trying and at least stopping straight line drives. So you know what I didn't see tonight? I didn't see a ton of those easy layups like they were rotational breakdowns. I didn't see a ton of that. Some of that was because the Bucks went to the drop, which Adrian Griffin decided to do based on the players telling them that that's what Brook Lopez looked better in. And he absolutely looked better. His rebounding issues, we'll talk about that in a second. But I thought that they did a much better job intentionally trying to keep guys in front of them, and that helped out a ton when you're talking about Brook Lopez having to protect the rim. So I thought that was really good. But Marjon Beauchamp was able to really score the ball. He had a ton of open threes. He made good decisions. He didn't turn it over. Marjon Beauchamp was very good off the bench tonight. Absolutely was a spark plug off the bench. You could argue he should have closed the game instead of Pat Connaughton 100%, because Pat Connaughton didn't do much tonight either. 2 points, 2 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal. I wasn't all that impressed in 23 minutes. You could argue that he should have got more minutes. Jay Crowder had 14 points and 6 rebounds as well. He had a heck of a night, shooting 4, 6 of 3. Marjon Beauchamp 3 of 5 from 3, shot 71% from the field. Give me your thoughts on what you saw from Marjon tonight and Jay Crowder off the bench as your 67th man who provided that spark.
Well, before I do that though, I do want to acknowledge one thing. Hey, Giannis had Julius Randle looking an absolute mess in this game. I mean, Julius Randle was 3 for 14 in that first half, and he looked absolutely hopeless. Now, if you solely look at the score, Julius Randle finished with 16 and 12, right? He was 5 for 20 from the field, 1 for 9 from three-point land. Giannis did his absolute thing on Julius Randle, especially in that first half. And I think I want to give a little credit to Giannis too, because he did the same exact thing to Jimmy Butler as well. So, hey man, hats off to Giannis there. 100%. Now, let's talk about this though. Jay Crowder and Marjon Beauchamp. Jay Crowder, I thought he played excellent tonight. I really did. I mean, 24 minutes, right? 5 for 8 from the field, 4 for 6 from three-point land. That kind of shooting efficiency. Now we can't expect the shooting efficiency every night, obviously, right? But what I didn't realize is that Jay Crowder would out-rebound Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez played 10 more minutes, 12 more minutes than that man. And Jay Crowder out-rebounds Brook Lopez. Same with Chris Middleton as well, where Brook had 5, Jay Crowder had 6, and Chris had 9. Second thing about this too, though, Marjon. And I said this a little bit earlier, but look, 13 points in 13 minutes, but not just that, but look, the 3 for 5 from three-point land, 5 for 7 from the field. He looked okay defensively as well, but he made his minutes count. And that's what Marjon's going to have to do if he wants to crack this rotation. I think he's probably been playing 6 to 8 minutes per game from here on out. So if he's going to get these minutes to increase, he's got to do something while he's out there. Having said that though, man, it's very easy to see why Bucks and the organization loves Marjon from an athletic, from a physical perspective, because he really can do it all. When it comes together, I think Marjon is going to be a very good player. But yeah, I mean, at this point, he's got to keep fighting for his minutes, but he's got to keep making his minutes count. And consistency. If Marjon can consistently give you something in every game, or at least every other game, right? Man, I don't see how he does not crack this rotation and get at least 10, 15 minutes a night.
Well, no, he's definitely getting that. He got 13 tonight. I think he absolutely is. He's 100% in the rotation. I think the question is going to be: do you put does Marjon crack the five man rotation where he's that starting fifth guy instead of Malik Beasley? And I think Malik Beasley gets up a lot of shots. Again, that fifth starter, all those guys are going to be able to get shots up, because you're, by virtue of all the attention that Giannis gets on the offense and all the attention that Damian Lillard gets, you're going to get your shots. Again, if you saw how many shots Brook Lopez was able to put up, you saw what Jay Crowder was able to do with his shots, you saw what Marjon was able to do with his shots. It's a make or miss league. You gotta hit your shots. Those are things you have to do. So I thought, again, Marjon, excellent. If you can hit your threes, hit the open threes, play smart, play defense. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay, and I think he absolutely did that tonight, and we'll see if he can continue that moving forward. Abu Drame Diomande on in the YouTube chat says nobody hates Giannis. The problem is that he is very sloppy with the ball. Sure, the defense plays a huge factor, but he needs to control the ball better. He then adds MarJon was huge. I want to talk about Giannis for 1 second. And it's things that I kind of hate and love because I'm obviously everybody's such a big Giannis fan. You're used to seeing, even in those nights where he puts up 20-some points or whatever, you're used to seeing 15, 20 rebounds. John, do you think those days are now gone from Giannis? And he has some big rebound games, I think, the first couple games of the season. But when his primary objective is to stop guys like Jimmy Butler on the perimeter, and his primary objective is to stop guys like Julius Randle, who plays a lot on the perimeter, you're going to see his rebounding numbers dip. Because previously in Mike Budenholzer's system, Giannis was a rover. He's able to run around. He's able to kind of do his thing. And he's able to scoop up all those loose boards that Brook Lopez, for whatever reason, decides not to use his hands and get. He likes to just stand around. I don't know for the life of me why Brook Lopez likes to watch the ball go off the bottom of the rim. I can't explain it for the life of me. But Giannis is used to coming in and getting those basketballs off of the rim, off the rebounds. He's now pulled out some outside to the perimeter. So those nights where he's 15, 16, 20 rebounds that we've obviously seen him able to do, are those going away a little bit by virtue of scheme? And I guess I add to that, I'm not upset at it at all. The numbers may not look like they once did, and he might not average 13 rebounds a night, 12 rebounds a night, but the impact is there. So I don't want to lose sight of the impact that he makes because, like you talked about earlier, he absolutely shut Julius Randle down for large portions of the game. I thought Julius Randle looked a little bit better in the last 5-6 minutes, but for the most part of that game, Julius Randle was just out of it. And I think to a large part because Giannis was defending him, he was up in him, and he played him well on the perimeter. And he's dispelling this myth that I think people thought about him based upon what Mike Budenholzer's system, that you couldn't have him play those perimeter guys because they get into foul trouble and all that. He looked very good tonight again.
Look, my issue with this is that somebody has to replace that board production, though, right? Like you're not going to beat your elite teams in the NBA losing the rebound battle by 20, right? That just is not going to happen. So I get it. You can put Giannis out there on the wing and have him lock down some of these top scorers, but at the end of the day, somebody's got to get those buckets, right? So if it's Brook Lopez's numbers need to go up, fine, right? If it's because Middleton who's chipping in and getting boards, right? Whomever it is that's down there, somebody's got to get those boards. So I'm a little concerned about this because I don't know how sustainable this is with having Giannis expend all that energy out there on the wing and then not getting boards, getting the second and third opportunities offensively for getting those boards defensively as well, and limiting those second and third opportunities for other teams too. So yeah, I get it. It's okay for this handful of games, but at some point we got to figure this thing out because we need Giannis down low.
Bucks go to one, and again, I think they got out rebounded by like 16. I will say in the first half, I think they were being out rebounded by 15 or 16, and at the end of the
20. It was like 30 to 39 and 19 or something.
Well, that's even better because at the end of the game it was 16. So that lets me know that from the first half to the second half that they didn't expound upon that. They didn't get out rebounded again by 10 or 15. The Bucks found a way to grab it. And I thought Brook was a little more aggressive grabbing the rebounds, too. I thought he did a much better job in the second half. I saw one play in particular, I think it was in the fourth quarter, where Giannis had a heck of a box out on Mitchell Robinson. And to give the Knicks a lot of credit, I will give the Knicks a lot of credit. They're a very good rebounding team. Mitchell Robinson does a great job doing that. But Giannis had an excellent box out on Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson couldn't get over him. I think somebody else grabbed the rebound. And I saw the coaches get up and give Giannis that credit for doing that. So a good job. I think Giannis only finished with eight rebounds, something like that. But, so like I said, you do need to replace that production from the rebounds. Let's shift gears, go to the in-season tournament, JT, and then there's been some comments about Adrian Griffin. We'll get to those in a second, too. The in-season tournament, John, the Bucks go to 1-0 in pool play. They're in Group B with the Knicks, so this is the first night of pool play. You saw the court was different for the Bucks. I will say this. When I first saw the jerseys, I didn't like them as much. I'm a fan. I'm not a huge fan of the blue jerseys for the Bucks, but I will say those iterations of the blue jersey, if you're gonna go blue, I like what they had on. I'm not a fan of it in general, but if you just tell me, hey, you gotta have something blue on for the Lake Michigan or what have you, I wasn't mad at I'm not mad at that jersey. The courts look weird with this, with this in-season tournament. JT, did you, and I'll ask you this, because what really matters is what the players feel about it. Did you feel like in that game, you watched the Bucks win 110-105 over the New York Knicks, game came down to the wire. Jalen Brunson played 41 minutes. Now, I think some of that's just because Tom Thibodeau is a madman. But did you feel any extra juice in pool play that these guys, they gave a little a little more because it was pool play and they know they're going to go to Vegas and try and win this $500,000 or whatever it is?
No, not at all. I think the juice was from that terrible loss on Wednesday.
Okay.
That's what the juice was.
Well, I'm talking about between both
I think
teams.
the juice
did you
was
feel
more
the Knicks had any juice? I'm talking about between both teams, not just the Bucks.
Sure, right. I think that look, the Knicks came out yes, to an extent, but I just don't think the Bucks care. I look. Here's my problem. Y'all can't make me care about this damn tournament. I do not. I do not care about it at all whatsoever. I want to see this team click. I want to see guys start getting this thing together and get in sync, right? Tearing up my heart, all that stuff, right? I want to see guys get out here and play up to their abilities. I want to see Chris come back. I want to see our shots falling. I want to see our bigs. I want to see Brooke finally figure this thing out. I want to see Giannis and Dame perfect this pick and roll. There's so many different things that I want to see that I care about because as a Bucks fan, I'm looking forward to the postseason, and we got to get this stuff right in the regular season. I do not care at all about this tournament, and I really, really hope that Adrian Griffin don't care at all about this tournament too. Don't let this tournament influence a single decision you've got. Side note, some of these basketball courts are a mess. Did you see the Bulls court tonight? It was putrid. Yeah. That was putrid. I'm not a fan. I thought the Bucks uniforms were cool. I thought, it's different, right? It's okay, right? It's a different uniform. It's a different look for the squad. Court was okay. Shout out to the fan that made that shot for 10,000. Y'all know him?
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope.
Man, my man hit the stride off the court too, ran right on back into the tunnel. I said, man, go ahead, eat this moment up.
That's what you should do. You hit $10,000 jackpot like that. You go to the game, get $10,000. Maybe you make some more Bucks games. So no, I thought that was cool. So you think 10,000 is that enough for hitting a half court shot? You think you should get a little more than $10,000 for hitting a half court shot? I know sometimes they do it for $1 million. I know I don't know. I feel like $10,000 is a little low on you get one shot to hit the half court. I feel like it's a little more. I feel like it's worth a little more. No?
I mean, look, you can get somebody 20 bands for making a half-court shot. You can get something. And my man took it to the bank, too. Boy, use that backboard and everything. So go ahead. But I give him.
Adramande also into the YouTube show says says if the rebounds go down from Giannis and other things have to step up. And again, when I talk about the other things stepping up, I'm talking about the defensive effort, the things that you don't see on the stat sheet. That's what I'm talking about. That steps up, that moves up. It's not just the effort from a defensive standpoint, but the fact that he's guarding your perimeter players. Again, we know what Julius Randle can do, and you absolutely shut down Julius Randle. We know what Jimmy Butler can do, and you absolutely shut down Jimmy Butler. Those are the things I'm talking about that step up, in my opinion. Joshua Snyder on the YouTube channel says, Connaughton is definitely the weak point of the rotation. I'm not a huge Beasley fan either. I probably would like it better if he wasn't in the starting lineup. I don't think anything changes for the moment related to that starting lineup, but it's definitely something that you can watch. And you have people talking about Brook Lopez as well during that game. And again, I'm glad that Brook Lopez did his thing late and he looked much, much, much better as that thing went on. Again, he had 2 blocks, I think, or 3 blocks coming into the season. JT, he had 8 tonight. 8 blocks tonight from Brook Lopez, and a lot of that because he went to the drop. And I do want to talk about Adrian Griffin for 1 second as we move forward in the show. John Neverick was a moment after halftime. By the way, I feel indifferent about interviewing coaches during the game. It's one thing, obviously, to interview them out of a timeout or after the quarter, but to interview a coach during a game, it just screams like the game is, You would never do that in the NFL to a football coach during the middle of the game. You would never think that in the NFL you could just go interview Bill Belichick or any coach for that matter in the middle of the game because there's too many important things going on. It just makes it seem like it's a ho-hum game. Guys going to court. You don't need me for that. I can take a break for the 30, 45 seconds while I do an in-game interview. That's just, I don't know. That kind of rubs me the wrong way. But neither here nor there. Adrian Griffin made an introspective comment that I thought was great when they asked him about his defense in the first half. And he said that he listened to the players. And the players told him that they wanted to see Brook Lopez play more in the drop. We talked about it on the last Cream City crossover show about how Brook Lopez, he got pulled early in the second half, 90 seconds in the second half, and then he didn't get back in until 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Tonight, obviously, he plays 35 minutes and was very effective with 8 blocks, playing in the drop for the most part while he was in the game. We talked about how Bobby Portis looks much better in his trapping and aggressive defense and not as well in Bud's drop. And now when Brook Lopez is in the game, you do less of the aggressive trapping and you play more to Brook's strengths. There have been 2 sides on this, and I think I know what side I fall squarely in. But there are a lot of people who said, "Oh my God, I can't believe Adrian Griffin is saying just he doesn't know what he's doing. He's got to listen to his players. His players are telling him what to do." How did you feel about Adrian Griffin and kind of those comments about listening to the players and ultimately kind of adjusting and changing his philosophy to better fit the attributes and skills of the guys he has on the floor?
So before I answer that question, you remember what you asked me on Wednesday? Was the Brook Lopez defensive issues, was it a Brook Lopez issue or was it an Adrian Griffin issue?
Right.
Think we got our answer as of right now.
Right.
Think we got our answer. It was, and I said, nope, this is solely on coaching. I am not gonna blame Brook Lopez for this at all, unless like the skills have the skills have diminished. Nope, this is solely Adrian Griffin, and I like the fact that he made that adjustment. I don't have a problem with it. The thing I realize about it, and remember when we interviewed Mike Dunlap on T's and Q's, what Mike Dunlap tell you with these elite players, these great players, right? Sometimes you got to be open. You can't come in and take the my way or the highway approach, right? As a coach, you cannot let your ego inhibit your ability to listen to your guys, right? It's got to be a collaborative approach because you're not going to be out there actually running the plays for them, running the scheme for them. And I like the fact that they listened to him and said, no, Brook is better in drop. And so far, he has proven that to be true. So hopefully Griffin, what I think you may have to do is you may have to have Brook and drop. And then, obviously Bobby playing the regular scheme. Bobby looks a hell of a lot better in your regular scheme here, but you got to make this adjustment to make this thing work. So, man, credit to Adrian Griffin for not being stale and basically saying, no, it's my way or a highway. It's going to work out this way. Credit for him for playing the Brook strengths. So I like that.
100%. That's exactly what you do. You play to his strengths. He is a defensive player of the year candidate and caliber player. That's 100% what you do. You absolutely do it. And again, I thought it was just great that you listen to your guys. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember when Mike Budenholzer during the championship run, they were telling him how he should defend how he should defend in the finals. I remember when Mike Budenholzer. When Eric Bledsoe, you probably don't remember this, JT. Eric Bledsoe used to defend James Harden. He played one game almost behind James Harden because James Harden was trying to get to that step back, and Eric Bledsoe basically almost played with his hands behind his back and behind James Harden. If you're real, you'll remember that game now that I'm talking about it. A lot of Bucks fans. He did that, and Mike Budenholzer let him do it. The best of coaches listen to your players. Giannis was asking to guard guys during the playoffs last year, and Mike Budenholzer wouldn't let him do it. And so just more of this. I like this from Adrian Griffin. That's it. Again, sometimes being the smartest person in the room is not it's not a character trait you want to have. You want to be able to have that perspective to listen to guys, especially listen to guys who have been. Again, this is a top 5 defense. Before everybody talks about Drew Holiday, this is a top defense with Eric Bledsoe. And he was a good defender in his own right. But this is a top 5 defense before Drew Holiday got here. It ain't like he just makes the defense. I don't care. Maybe the Bucks aren't going to be a top 5 defense throughout the year, but they are for sure not but I think they're right now ranked 30th in total defense. They are not the worst defense in the NBA, and I think they absolutely proved it and showed it tonight. At BSD Gazelle comes in and says, solid game, defense looked better, Chris looked great, would like to see Dame and Giannis take more shots, and what happened to Pat? He looks lost on both ends of the floor. I agree with absolutely all of those comments. I thought Chris Middleton in 21 minutes, I don't know if we talked enough about Chris and the impact that he's had. He looks smooth. I'm glad that he's bumped up. Hey, JT, we talked about the ramp. You gotta have a ramp that keeps going up. I want to see that ramp go up for 15. Now we're at 20 minutes. I think you remember. I don't know if LeBron in LA, they talked about him playing 30 minutes. I heard on the broadcast they said they were gonna try to get him to 30 minutes or so. I couldn't. It almost sounded as if they were gonna try to limit or restrict his minutes. Even just once, his minute total throughout the year is gonna be around that 30-minute mark, and maybe until you get to the playoffs. I know they scrapped that in LA because the Lakers just can't win without LeBron doing whatever he does. But I don't know. I like to see it. 21 minutes tonight. He looked very good. Looked in control. Just looked smooth. He looked spry. I could like to see him move a little bit better laterally, but a really nice game from Chris Middleton. Good shooting and just making great decisions. That's what I want to see from these guys. Make great decisions, 100%.
Yeah, I was inspired by what I saw from Middleton. I really was, right? 5% from the field, 2 for 3 from the three-point line, but more importantly, like not just hitting shots, but all over the court. But I agree with you, moving well. I think he was moving well out there. Now, granted, we aren't his trainers and or strength and conditioning coaches, so we don't maybe from side-by-side video. I don't know what it looked like. I don't remember exactly how it looked, pre-injury or anything, but I thought he looked good. I thought he looked healthy. Having said that, I think you're right. He's taking the next step in his minutes, right? And now you've broken 20. So when do we get up to 25, right? I don't think we need to overdo it. We definitely don't need to overdo it because clearly they have a plan at this point. And right now, looks like the plan is working. So I feel good about this. I just can't wait till we can get more of our true starting five on the court for the majority of the game.
A lot of questions I'm talking about Adrian Griffin's rotations. I'm not I don't dislike him. I get, and again, it's hard to me, again, kind of same thing. It's hard to talk about until we know what Chris's minutes are really going to look like. I think, hopefully in the playoffs, I've talked about it to where, when you have Dame, Chris, and Giannis, there really shouldn't be moments where two of those three aren't on the floor. There for sure shouldn't be moments where at least one of those three is not on the floor. But, it's hard to know when Chris is only playing 20 minutes what that real rotation is going to look like from him. I think some people just don't like it because it's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, Giannis finishes with 35 minutes. Dame finishes 36 minutes. Brook Lopez, 35 minutes. So, he's getting them to the minutes that you want him to get at. I think people just don't like the order of it and why, it's Giannis comes out at the first 6 minutes and then he plays a couple. That's neither here nor there to me. I didn't think the minutes were an issue for Giannis or for the Bucks at all. I'm okay 100% with that, with what he looked like minutes-wise. I didn't have any issues. The Tony World chiming in says, by the playoffs, you're going to be saying, we got Dame, Giannis, and MarJon. I just can't get with this Chris hate. I know people always talk about it with you on Twitter, but yeah, you coming in hard on Chris Middleton. Again, he looks good. He's a very good complimentary player, and as a third guy, I think he's going to continue to play in that role and be really good. JT, looking around the NBA at everything going on right now, the Trailblazers are up fit. The Grizzlies have still not won a basketball game. The Trailblazers up 54-53 on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Nuggets are up 56-46 right now on the Mavericks. Good game going on ESPN. The Pacers beat the Cavs 121-116. The Warriors 141-139 winners over the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Nets 109-107 over the Bulls, and the Miami Heat get their second win of the year over the Washington Wizards 121-114. Give me, we're wrapping this thing up, coming to a close. Give me your, just keep giving me your some of your thoughts on what you saw tonight from the Milwaukee Bucks.
So, look, here's one thing that I do want to address, because last week, the last show, when we talked about what's one positive revelation of this team, I said it was Malik Beasley, right? And then, of course, to my luck, I say Malik Beasley, and what's he do tonight? He's not much more than wall art, right? It was literally, he didn't even take a single shot in that first half, which is just bizarre to me. How are you going to be a sharpshooter and not take a single shot in the first half? By the way, is that wine, sir?
Oh, it is. We on the Stella Rosa, baby.
I was about to say, wait, hold on, man. We on that wine,
You
nice
know
little
we
red
on
wine.
we on the Stella Rosa, baby.
Okay, drinking a little red wine during the show. Okay, man. You know
After
what?
the
I should have
dub.
poured up some Macallan. But yeah, Malik Beasley, I think for the most part has looked good, especially from the 3-point land this season. Tonight, I'm going to call it an anomaly, right? I'm not giving up on Malik Beasley at all. I'm going to say, okay, he had a rough night, but for the most part, I think he still has earned that position to be that fifth starter at this point, and I think we can still expect good things from Malik Beasley. Uh, that said, I'm not against him getting pushed. I'm not against other guys in the lineup pushing for his spot, pushing for his minutes. If he starts slipping and other guys start playing strong, I'd love it if Marjon started pushing him for minutes. I think that's a great thing from a depth perspective. I love it if Crowder started pushing him for minutes. I think that's a great thing from a depth perspective. But
Man,
you know,
I love the way Jay Crowder's been playing and what he brings to his basketball team too.
absolutely.
I love him on the bench and what he brings. Eric Neem of the Athletic says that Adrian Griffin told reporters that is after the timeout play they got Damian Lillard. The three was not actually designed that way. Lillard saw that he was getting top lock and changed the cut. Giannis read it and handed it off to him for a clutch three. So now I feel a little bad that I won't feel bad. I was giving Adrian Griffin a lot of credit, and those guys changed it up on the fly. And then he went into some more detail after the
Let
game.
me ask you a question.
Well, let me one second. He went into more detail after the game about saying sometimes as coaches we're too smart for our own selves. A couple players came to me. I won't disclose them. They wanted Brook deeper in drop. I was smart enough to listen to them, and it paid off. Go ahead.
I just got to ask this question,
Yeah.
right? When you talk about final thoughts.
Yeah.
So what's today? November 3rd,
Yep.
right? Is Bobby Portis going to make a 3-pointer before December?
He didn't take one today, did he? Did he?
No, he took two. He took two tonight. And Bobby Portis has not made a 3-pointer this season. Is that going to happen before December? Is it good? At what point does it become a mental thing to where you just shoot that shot and you just do not have that confidence in that shot anymore? And like,
yeah, Bobby's a good enough shooter though that he'll jump out of it. I just think he's too good of a shooter to where he won't be able to get that shot going. He was off a lot tonight. I didn't realize he was 2 for 10. Knew he had 4 points. Only two. The thing that disappointed me was
he had a
the
rough
Bucks,
night tonight.
the thing that disappointed me from Bobby Porter's perspective was they were having issues rebounding the basketball. He likes to come in and grab boards. And he only grabbed 2 rebounds. So I thought that had to get better. But I will say I thought Bobby again, and even tonight in 16 minutes. I did not once look and go, man, Bobby didn't give the effort on the defensive side of the ball. So I would give Bobby, he isn't shooting the ball well, but I would give him 100% credit because I've talked, and again, only because I've talked junk about his defense before. I think Bobby's been playing, just as far as from a total effort level, 100% he's done a lot better. The other guy who did not do anything at all tonight, Cam Payne, I thought tonight he just wasn't a good player. No points, no boards, 1 assist in 12 minutes of action. So there's that for
that. Cam and Malik Beasley, right? Both of these guys literally just took up space. Yeah, you don't doing nothing else but doing that, taking up space, I guess, taking up air.
Yeah,
but it's gonna happen sometime. It's okay.
Yeah, you get out there and do some cardio.
I guess, man.
At the end of the day, the Bucks get a win, and again, so I'll ask this before we really wrap this thing up. So we've seen now the Bucks have won, I guess it's every other game. They're 3-2 on the year. Up and down. Tonight I would say overall defensively especially was a very good night. The offense looked good at times. They shot the ball very well from 3, and then late in the game they executed, got the dub. Damian Lillard taking over down the stretch to finish with 30 points. I ask you this, JT, do you think what gear did you see the Bucks in tonight? It is tough because you see them lose to Atlanta, and they lost to Atlanta, and I can't remember who else they lose to, JT. Somebody who they just lost to
Atlanta, and then I don't even know who they lose.
My CTE's acting up. Yeah, I'm totally drawing a blank on who on their.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, the Raptors.
We have been on so much.
The Raptors.
Toronto, that's right.
Yep, they lost to Toronto. So, you lose to Toronto, and that's where I'm going with it. You lose to Toronto, and you lose to Atlanta. You beat Miami, Philly, and the Knicks all three of those teams, you could argue, are better than, at the end of the day, you could argue they're better than Atlanta. You definitely say they're better than Toronto, I think. I mean, what do you make of this team right now, 5 games in? Is it, kind of more the same, I guess, in my opinion, that, you just don't know what you're getting on a night-to-night basis?
That's exactly what it is. And sometimes you're beating yourselves, right? Turnover battle, free throws. There's been a lot if you really dig into those losses too. Both, at the end of the day, they were terrible losses, right? Both were over 15-point losses, which was completely unnecessary, especially to teams like that. But I think this is a team that's finding its way. And again, I cannot stress this. It's early in the season. Dame has not been here that long, has not practiced, and he hasn't looked great overall. He's had some good moments, but he has not looked great. I just think it's a team that's figuring some things out. And again, small adjustments like Brook Lopez, right? Switching up what you're doing with him defensively, all that stuff. I think that's going to add up. And I think we're gonna find our groove. I just think the issue this year, unlike the previous few years, is that we have not found our groove immediately, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I think that they will find their groove. They'll figure this thing out. They'll continue to figure it out. Their next game is Monday night against the Brooklyn Nets. So I don't know, maybe they'll stay around in New York over the weekend or something as they get that going. I'm watching right now the Denver Nuggets. It's a 10-point game over with the Dallas Mavericks. Jason Kidd is out sick. But I saw that note. So Sean Sweeney, I think, is coaching the basketball team. Interesting floor, like we said, out in Denver with the 5,280 feet. Their mantra about being a mile high and whatnot out in Denver. So see how that one ends. Fun time in the association. Damian Lillard finishes this thing off for the Milwaukee Bucks with some big time shot making down the stretch. It's a 110-105 victory for the Milwaukee Bucks. JT, any final words?
Hey, great win. Another exciting win for the Bucks tonight. I'm going to stack this one up there with the rest. Looking forward to it. Next week, we're coming at you guys. We're going to be on 4 times next week, right? We got, Monday, Bucks and Nets. Wednesday, Pistons, Bucks. Thursday, Bucks at Pacers. Saturday, Bucks at Magic. So a lot of Bucks talk coming your way. Again, subscribe, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't. Come in. Eventually, we're going to get some chat box. Maybe we'll get a phone line so you guys can come in and get your takes off. And we're excited to do this for you guys. So,
100%.
man, appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight.
Hey, and like you said, man, I think it was Justin from NC saying you can't wear the Panther stuff, and that's why they lost the game. We got the Panther stuff on today, and the Bucks get the dub. So it ain't the Panthers. Hey, listen, Panthers get a dub, Bucks get a dub. You know how it is. So good stuff on that as well. And thank you, absolutely. Cream City Crossover. Follow them at CCC Bucks Show on Twitter as well. Like, subscribe, follow, all of that. Follow on Twitter, everything. We're having some fun. We appreciate you guys for joining us. This is, of course, has been a Cream City Media Group production. Don't take no on your T's and Q's tomorrow on 97.3 The Game. The Badgers play at noon. So next time you see us there is next Saturday. We'll be back on 97.3 on Saturdays, 10 to noon on your T's and Q's. Don't take no wooden nickels. The Bucks win at 110-105 over the New York Knicks. Don't take no wooden nickels. Courage.